Alright, make sure you guys have stuff copied down, please. iPads are closed at this point. Alright, so we actually have 4 activities that we're going to be doing today. We're going to be doing notes, a foldable, some practice, and then you guys are going to have a homework to do. Hopefully we can get through this and you have time to work on the homework in class. You at least have to work on the data collecting for your homework in class. The rest of it might have to be done at home. Just depends on how long it takes us to get through this. Alright, so a histogram is a special type of bar graph used to show the frequency of data. So the biggest difference between a bar graph and a histogram is a bar graph represents one number or one thing, and a histogram is a range. And you'll see the difference when we, as we go through today. In the histogram, there are no spaces between the bars. When you make a histogram, make sure you have no underline. When you make a histogram, it is helpful to group the data into intervals and let each bar show the frequency. So an interval is what? Do I know what an interval is? What do you think, Ronnie? It's a type of data, but an interval is like a range of numbers. So like you have intervals of 2s or 5s or 10s or thousands depending on your data. So range of numbers. Remember that a histogram, the bars must be the same width. Alright, now obviously we are human, so it is going to be a little off, but for the most part it should be as close to the same as possible. Alright, so there are 2 steps. Step number 1, you're going to sort your data into those intervals. And then step number 2, you're going to make the histogram of the data. Make sure to label all of the parts of the histogram. Alright, go ahead and get those notes glued in. Alright, so looking at our foldable, we're gonna talk about what a histogram is, how it is different from a bar graph, what are the steps to make one, and then we're gonna do an example.
You're gonna give us two.
Sorry. So go ahead and open up to the inside. Alright, so the things that we know about a histogram. So the first thing is it shows the frequency of data using the area of bars. Is used for continuous data. Has evenly spaced ranges. For the data and is not, make sure you capitalize the word not, good for categorical, underline categorical data. Thumbs up when you have this copy down. Thumbs up when you have this copy down, so I know I can move on. Alright, so the difference from a bar graph is, for one, the bars, they touch. Where in a bar graph, there is a space between your bars. And it displays continuous not categorical. Alright, the steps to creating a histogram is you're going to analyze data and decide on your class width. What that means is you're going to decide what the width of each one of your bars is going to be. Class is another word for bars. You're going to create your frequency table. Step number 3, draw and label your x-axis with class widths. Step number 4, draw and label your y-axis with your frequencies. And then step number 5 is you're going to construct bars for each class. That corresponds with the frequency table. Alright, so how many of you guys are like, that seems like a lot of work? Okay. It seems like a lot of work, but it's really not hard. So we are going to do an example. So we're going to decide on our class width. We're going to make a frequency table, and then we're going to draw a histogram. So down here, make sure that you don't make your information super big because you're going to run out of room if you do. Alright, so it says use this data of scores on your most recent math quiz out of 30 points. So these are all of your scores. So we have 23, 25, 26, 29, 30, 30, 25, 19, 18, 24, 24, 27, 30, 21. So looking at those, what do you think our class size should be? Like, should we increase by ones? Obviously, probably not. Or should our range will never be 1, sorry. The range for your histogram can never be 1 because then what would it actually be? If it's only 1 and you're only representing one number, what kind of graph is that? What do you think? What kind of graph is it? Bar graph. Okay, so it's got to be 2 or more. So looking at our numbers, how many of you guys think 2 would be good? Okay, what about 3? I think 3 would be good. I think 3 would be really good. Okay, so we are going to pick 3 as our class width. Alright, so that is step number 1. Step number 2 is going to be our frequency table. Now, you'll notice you do not have to start at 0, okay? You need to make sure that in your frequency table, you have at least the lowest number included. So we're going to do 16 to 18. Then we're going to do 19 to 21. Then we're going to do 22 to 24. Then we're going to do 25 to 27. And then the last one is 28 to 30. Does that help back there? I moved it up a little bit. Does that help or no? Or yeah, you can move closer as well. You move wherever you need to go. Alright, so now, what do you think we do? So we have our frequency table. What do you think we need to do with our data? Anybody? Somebody? Guys, I get it. It's Monday, but I need you to still participate. What do you think we need to do with our data? Someone other than Aiden. Guys, it's really not that hard. What are we doing? We've just created a frequency table, right? Which is a range of the numbers that are in our data. So, what do you think we're going to do for 16 to 18? What do you think we're going to do with our data? Troy. No, y'all, we're not subtracting anything. Where in the directions did it say subtract? Go back and look at steps 1 through 5. So we've decided on our width. We've written up our frequency table. What do we do with our frequency table? Hamden. No, because we don't have our information yet, so we can't do that. create your frequency table. What is a frequency table? Start with that. If you don't remember, it's like 5 or 6 days ago, school days. You are collecting data. So how many numbers range from 16 to 18 in our data set? Look at your data set. How many numbers? What number falls between 16, 17, and 18? No. There's one. What number? Which one? No, there's no 17 in our data set, y'all. This is our data set. What's the only number that falls between 16, 17, and 18? Like, I guess I'm saying this wrong. 18. Cross it off. Put a 1. There's one number in that range. How many numbers do we have in our data set that are between 19, 20, 21? So you're going through 19. So there's 1, 2. Is that it? So you put 1, 2. Do you remember doing this at all with anything that we've done? Remember the sports? Remember that lesson? Or it was like the top, summer sport things? We had to go through and count how many times soccer showed up, football, baseball, whatever that was. This is the same thing. It's just with numbers. Jonathan works on, what is wrong with your pencil?
That pencil sharpener is too loud and I can't let it go.
Maybe just sharpen your pencil. Sharpen it. All right. So how many do we have that fall between 22, 23, and 24? Which one? We have 3. So we have 23, 24, 24. So we have 1, 2, 3. All right. How many fall between 25, 26, and 27? Camden. We have 4. So 25, 26, 25, 27. And then how many fall between 28, 29, and 30? How many do we have? William? 4. So 29, 30, 30, and 30. All right. So we just got through our frequency table. Now, step number 3 says draw and label your x-axis. So I'm going to draw a line going this way at the bottom. This is my x-axis. And what is the width? So what is our last width? We said 3 points, right? So what's our width?
3.
It's 3, but what are we starting with? Look at your frequency table. What did we start with?
16 is 3.
Right, so the first one is going to be 16 to 18. And I'm just going to put a little line so I kind of know. The next one is going to be 19 to 21. Next one is going to be 22 to 24. 25, sorry, don't know my numbers, to 27. And 28 to 30. Label these your points. All right, what is our highest frequency? It's our highest frequency. So what's the biggest total we have over here in our frequency table? Ronnie? 4. So over here, we're going to label 1, 2, 3, 4. And your x-axis, you're always going to label that your frequency. I'm sorry, your y, not your x. All right, so your x or your y is always going to be frequency no matter what. No matter what those numbers are, it's always your frequency. So now we start our graph. So how many tally marks did we have in our frequency table for 16 through 18? 1. So you're simply going to draw a bar to 1. Bless you. All right, how many frequencies did we have between 19 through 21? Kylie? 2. So I'm going to just draw straight up from that last one to 2. See how they are connected. There's no space between them. Do not put a space between them, guys. There's no space whatsoever. All right, the next one, 22 to 24, what's our frequency? Aiden? So I'm gonna go straight up from the last one. That's 3, and then 25 through 27 is what? Bless you. 25 through 27. What's our frequency for that one? Noah. 4. Alright, and then the last one is also 4. Alright, so that is a histogram. What makes this hard is the range down here. And remembering that you have to have the bars connecting, not separate. Alright, questions? Alright, glue this in. We are going to put this foldable to practice. Also, you are going to need some colors. So go ahead and get those out. Crayons, markers, color pencils, I don't care. Alright, if you have not done so, please also make sure you label the next 2 pages, histogram practice, and then histogram homework. Thank you. Alright, so it says create a histogram using the data set below. So this is the number of hours of TV watched per week. So it gives us our data. The next thing about histograms, you don't have to put your data in order, do you? You just look at your data and pull that information out. So they've already given you a range. What is the range? Or the class width, sorry. Like what is your, how many numbers? Say it that way. Kylie.
4.
Are you sure? Well, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Because they are including 0 in this one. Just kidding. No, it's 4. Sorry. I was just make sure. Just like when you tell me 0 equals 10.
It does.
Okay, just make sure. Yes, it's 4. I lied. Our lowest number is 4 on this one, and then our highest number is 24. So how many numbers fall between 0 and 4 in our data set? Just 1. So we're going to cross off 4, I put one tally mark, that's it. Alright, how many numbers fall between 5 through 9? How many numbers? Noah? 2. So we have 5 and we have 8. So 1, 2. Alright, how many numbers fall between 10 and 14? Delilah? 2. So we have 10 and we have 14. How many numbers fall between 15 and through 19? Camden? Not 4. So let's count them. So we have 15, so that's 1, 17, 18, 19, 19. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, so it's going to be 5. Alright, and then obviously the rest of the numbers what? What are the rest of the numbers? They fall where?
Between 20 and 24.
Alright, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Why is it really important to make sure also that you're crossing your numbers off as you're going through your data? Like,
That way you don't double count one.
so you don't double count one. What else? Like, what happens if we got to that last one and we were counting and all of a sudden there was 19 was left? That would mean that we missed it, so all we have to do is just add another tally mark over here, but if we did cross them off, we would never know that, right? So it's just one of those ways to make sure that you're checking to make sure that you're getting all your information. Alright, so we've gotten our frequency table done. Now we have to build our histogram. So at the bottom, our range is what? What's our range? Like our class width. So what are we going to label the bottom? Huh? I can't hear what you're saying. Points? No, baby. These aren't points.
Hours.
Yeah, we'll just label it hours down here. And why are we labeling it hours? Troy.
Because it's the number of hours people have.
Okay, so we start 0 to 4. I'm gonna make a little line. Then we have 5, 10, 9. Make a little line. Why do you think I'm making those lines?
So you can tell where to make the bar.
Yeah, so trying to make it that equal distance so I know where to make the bar when I'm drawing these. So then we have 10 to 14, another line, 15 to 19, and 20 to 24. Now some of us write bigger, and you'll notice as the numbers get bigger, my bars are actually going to get bigger, not by on purpose, it just kind of happens that way. Now our data, we have 1 all the way to 10 in our frequency table. How many lines do we have on our, so this is our x-axis, how many lines do we have on our y-axis? Christiana? 5. So we obviously can't go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like the last time, right? So what do we have to do? So we can't increase by 1. What can we increase by?
You can put 5 to 52.
That's going to be too high. Because our lowest number is 1, our highest number is 10. On our frequency table. Guys, your y-axis is your frequency. Which means these numbers. So we have 1, we have 2, we have 2, we have 5, we have 10. So what could we increase our y lines by? Emma?
2s.
2s. So we're going to do 2, 4, 6, 8, and 12. So 0 to 4, what was our frequency on that? 0 to 4. Aiden.
1.
Alright, so that's going to be about halfway up. It's not going to go all the way to 2. Alright, then the next one, 5 to 9, what was our frequency? What was our frequency? Ronnie?
2.
Alright, so that one we're just kind of going to go to that next line. Alright, What about the frequency for 10 to 14?
2.
2. So really, we just have to extend that line. All right, what about 15 to 19? How many do we have there? 15 to 19, Emma?
5.
We have 5, so that's gonna fall between 4 and 6. Okay, and then the last one, 20 to 24.
10.
10, so that one's gonna go all the way up here. And I'm really bad at drawing straight lines, y'all, so I apologize. And then I want you to add some color so you get a visual of what this is gonna look like. There should not be any talking. When you are done, go ahead and glue that into your notebook. Good. But you can move back to your seat if you want. Alright, do not put your colors away yet because you are going to need them for your homework. Alright, so go ahead and get out this sheet that I just passed out. This is going to be the homework that you guys are going to hopefully have time to get done in class today. Alright, so it says roll the double die, which is one of these, so it's got 2 dice in it. It says multiply the 2 numbers together, repeat 24 more times so that you have 25 data points. So what that means is I'm going to roll my dice and I get a 2 and a 3, so I'm going to multiply that and I'm going to get 6. And then I'm going to roll it again. And I got 1 times 4, which is 4. So you are going to do this until this whole thing is filled up. Okay? When you're done with filling out this chart, you're going to bring your dice back to me and hand it to me. Then, down here, you have to figure out your intervals. So like, depending on what your data looks like, will determine what your intervals are going to be down here. Then you're going to go through and find your frequency, and then over here, you're going to create your histogram. Does that make sense? Histogram has to have color. So please make sure that you add color to it. Questions about your homework? Okay. As soon as you get your dice, go ahead and start